Greetings all, and welcome back to Globbits Gaming Channel. Got another World of Tanks replay for you here. This time, one of my guys, Purple Aki in his T71. We are on Siegfried Line, and we're in a very tier 10 game. Well, it's not very tier 10, there's only 2 tier 10s on each team actually, but a high tier game. Standard issue matchmaking for this thing. It can see tier 10s and often does. I've had a request from some people in the channel to actually show some more replays of this thing. I had some monster games in this in the early days of the channel. Don't play it as much as I should do, to be perfectly honest with you. So here we go. Special mention, first of all, to Mu Engine in the Leopard PTA and MMA4 in the T57 Heavy. They do really exceptionally well in this replay. So, setup for Purple then. He's basically got the Octane Fuel, Binos and Camnet. He set this up as a dedicated passive scout by the looks of things. The fuel's there to get him into the early positions, which is what he's doing here. And he's then going to use his binos and his camnet to full effect. Now I don't do this in my T71. There's two basic ways you can set this tank up. You can set it up as a damage dealer. I use coated optics, aiming drive, and binos. So is it? Do I do that? I can't remember. Yeah, it's definitely aiming drive, vents, aiming drive, and binos. I should have checked that before I started to replay, really, but never mind. Yeah, vents. Definitely use vents. The extra 5% nippiness. But then again, fuel, it makes the tank expensive to run. But, you know, if you're going to use it occasionally, it's not too bad. Now, you get some early spots off. Now, what this does, if you go off it as a scout and get early spots, it tends to, I find, make your team diverge on the tanks that you spotted early. It tends to focus them in the early stage. Now, this can work to your advantage or your disadvantage. Because if they focus on something that really doesn't need focusing on and they all drive one way and forget about the objective, you've got problems. But basically he's getting some good spotting damage here. There's a T95, IS8 and a T30, 3 top tier tanks on the enemy team. 2 very dangerous tank destroyers and a reasonably dangerous heavy tank. So we know as early information that they're not going to be in the town causing havoc and mayhem. Personally, I would, T95's in the right place, T30, I'd probably go into the town personally. And this is the issue here. We get properly spotted by the AMX-12. Now, there are 2 AMX-12s in this game. We took out one of their scouts. We've got 2 AMX-12Ts. Now, it would be advantageous if we could take those out. So we could have free reign on our scouting duties. Peek up, get spots again. Not a bad idea. I'm a bit dubious about coming up in the same location, but he's pretty limited in options here. I personally, at the start of the game, I didn't really like this spot, but actually it works out pretty well. I tend to get killed whenever I go here, but I don't tend to go in really small tanks like T71s. How I play my T71, slightly different to Purple here, is I like to run around shooting the hell out of things and just generally causing a nuisance to the enemy team, which he does later on. In the early stages, this is probably something that I'm missing with a cracking shot there, by the way, on tracking that T12, AMX-12T. One thing I need to learn about scouts or small light tanks is not to get too ambitious in the early stages of the game, because these tanks really do come into their own. If this thing's still alive at the end of the game and it's got a half decent player driving it, you've got serious problems. So now he's basically realised that the usefulness of this particular position is, well, it's wearing thin. He's getting proxy spotted by 12Ts. He's going to go look for mayhem in the town, but he's not going to go into the mix of the town. He's just skirting the outside edges. He's using the zoom out mod, which is a fantastic mod. I don't personally have it at the moment, but then again, I'm not really playing World of Tanks that much. When I did have it, it's really handy for looking over the tops of buildings. I don't know why they don't introduce it into the game, probably due to realism purposes, but then again, if you're playing World of Tanks for realism, you've got something wrong with you. This game is not realistic. It's fun, an arcadey type game, but it's not realistic. In fact, there are very few tank games out there that are actually realistic as such, because driving tanks is boring. Spend a lot of time sitting around. So he spotted a Type 61 and a Panther 2. It's popping through the arches here. See if you can get some shots. Can we get shots? Ooh, unfortunately not. No. One thing I did notice about Purple's gameplay in this replay, I wanted to mention, is reload management. He does it pretty well. He has a fantastic eye for when to reload. And it's one of those skills that you have to learn as auto-loading tank driver. A lot of people think auto-loaders are OP, and some of them are. You know, some of them are powerful, but you have to manage reload. If you can catch, for example, a AMX 5100 when it's halfway through its reload, you've got him. He's dead. Once they've basically shot their bolt and done their burst damage, there's absolutely nothing they can do. They're absolutely defenseless. The idea, the best practice of an auto-loading driver is to know when to take your reload. It's basically when you're not being shot at and you're not likely to get killed. But that's a skill that comes with time. Basically, he's returning back to his original position now. He's noticed in the town that he can't really get anywhere. Now, some scout drivers there would have just gone full retard and gone through the town. And then he goes and does this. Now, I didn't understand at first. I was pulling my hair out when I first watched this replay. I'm like, Aki, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? You madhead. What are you doing? But it turns out, from what I can gather, he was basically trying to bait these guys out to A, shooting at him, and then moving positions. And it seems to work. He's got himself into hardcore. He's very, very lucky not to take some serious damage from those guys, but he's moving at full tilt. And he manages to get to this 12T, right, basically take him out. Sets him on fire early, which is good. Extra tick damage. And take him out and reload. Now what this has basically done, it's made the combat turtle, the Doom turtle, and the IS-8 to basically move positions and brings them out into the open onto the Tiger II. Now unfortunately, he doesn't have a great deal of support down this side anymore, so he decides, well, screw this, I can't corner fight with an IS-8, I'm going to run away. Still on full health, you know, can use my speed. Reload's complete, I've got a full drum left, let's get out of here. And this is a kind of intelligence and awareness that you need as a scout player. Now, when he first did that move, I was like, what the hell? But it ain't stupid if it works. I mentioned this in a previous video, I'm going to use this opportunity to mention it. I've had a comment in my ELC video about the plethora of derp videos, which is fine. You know, if you guys aren't happy with the amount of dirt videos I'm showing, that's fine. It's getting a bit old, so I'll change things, don't worry. But the ELC in the early stage of the game, the guy who was basically complaining, well not complaining, but commenting on the video, basically said that he went full retard and it's an idiot's move. Well, maybe it is, but if it works, it's not. So, in response to that comment, fair one, I appreciate it, I'll take it on board. But guys, don't ever threaten me with the unsubscribe button. You know, if you don't like it, leave. Not a problem. And we'll leave that one there. Alright? But I'll try and do my best to help you guys, but don't threaten me with the unsubscribe button. Alright, ever. Because I'll just remove you from the channel. Not a problem. We've sorted that one out. Please don't do that again. Alright? I don't like it. If you want something changing or you don't like something, just tell me. Okay, I'm an intelligent guy. I'll take it on board. I take criticism as well. Ow! Wow, that hurt. Ooh, good shot from the T95. I take criticism just as well as I do praise. Okay, so fair one. I will change things, and this is the response to that. Yeah, I've released this video. It's a scouting video. It's about as far from a dirt video as you can get. Alright, so don't ever threaten me with the unsubscribe button again. Shots on the VK. Boom! Now, this is one thing. We're in the late stages of the game now. We're 10-10. It's 10-10. And basically, we're alive. We've not got a lot of health left. We've managed to conserve most of our health to about halfway in the game. Now, we're going to put our speed and our manoeuvrability to advantage. Now, some of the lanes in the map are open now. When we first did this manoeuvres in the early stages of the game, we couldn't get anywhere without seeing an enemy tank. Now, seeing this Object 7268, oh, lovely jubbly. Get behind him, okay. Remember I mentioned that lip PTA? Perfect tracking shot, allows us to secure the kill. It's a really high tier tank destroyer killed by a scout. That PTA driver there plays an absolute blinding game. Shout out to the MMA4 as well in the T57. He's killed half of our kills so far. He's killed 5 kills. Unfortunately, he didn't get the Top Gun opportunity. He died before then. Now, T71, Purple decides to cap here. Basically, the reason for this is to draw out the enemy. Now, in this kind of stage, you've got 2 tanks out in the field. One slow one reasonably quick. A T30 in combat, and there's only 1 tank remaining that isn't unaccounted for. He was last spotted down in the 1-2 spawn point of the red team, the T57 Heavy. Very, very dangerous tank, and I think the reason for doing this was to basically draw him out. Now, I think Purple's spidey sense goes off here, because he starts looking around, and he's thinking, right, I've been in here far too long. This could prove problematic. So he gets himself in a bush. You've got to get yourself in a bush whenever you're in a scout tank. If you're stood still, ladies and gentlemen, you get your ass in a bush and you don't make any noise. And there's your 57 Heavy. Oh crap. Right, use the speed. Let's get the fuck out of dodge. We do not want to tangle with that guy. And he misses his shot. If he'd have hit us, that's it. Game over. The average damage of that gun, it's GG to him. So we use our speed. We drop off the radar. We've got a full drum. PTA takes out the IS-8. Awesome job to him. He's still got the T30 problem though, and the T57 is in the cap circle. Now, let's do some pokey. Do some pokey work. Poke out. Bounce the first shot. Take a second shot, do a little trickle damage. Oh, I wouldn't have stuck around for that third shot personally, that was risky. If that snapshotting in that tank, I've been snapshotted by those things a lot. But manages to get away and basically does not come out at the same location. Players he's a red player. This is one of the reasons I use XVM. He's not exactly a great player, the T57 Heavy, on paper. Now, use this to your advantage. He basically runs around that house to basically drop off the radar, and this guy will get bored and go looking for tanks that can actually spot. And he does exactly that. He's moved out of the cap circle, he's gone looking for the KV-4. And he's presented his arse to us. Brilliant. Takes out the T57 takes out the KV-4, but he forgot about the scout. And he's paying for it. Paid for it in a big way. 1,800 damage in a T57 Heavy. To a T57 Heavy in a T71. Had that guy been a little bit better, that might have gone a little bit differently. But to be honest, he dropped an absolute clanger there. He got hungry for the kills. People don't pay this tank enough respect, especially when they're in high tier heavy tanks. This thing fires APCR ammunition as standard, and it has the same penetration, right, basically as a KV-1S. Okay, it's got 175mm penetration, and it's an auto-loader. If this thing gets behind you, you're in serious, serious trouble. Speaking of serious trouble, that's 4 of your 9 lives used up, Purple. Snapshot from the T95 there, missed. I think he was just trundling along. They've basically got this guy. It's going to take a little bit of teamwork, but they've basically got him. Track shots incoming, yeah. Basically try and put as much damage into him as you can. 175mm penetration there, you're going to struggle to pen a T95 from the side unless you shoot in the right place. There we go. It's the actual superstructure. And in the arse. And this is where these two really come together. Alright, they're both more than one shot. So if this T95 breathes on either of them or farts on them in a really stupid way, and Purple Aki realises this, he says to the PTA, please don't die. Whatever you do, please don't die. Just live. I need something to distract him. And this is what they do. Basically, the PTA driver is providing a distraction behind the hard cover, and he's telling him to track him and go behind him. Yeah, and that's what you need to do to a T95. You ain't going to kill it from the front. Unless you're really, really lucky, you're firing some stupidly high pen ammo. So he chooses his moment and he skips around the side. The T95 doesn't turn that quickly, and this is GG. Unless this T95 or one of these two makes an absolute howling mistake, or this T95 does something amazing. This is in the bag. He's been tracked, takes a shot, and then starts to move behind. Now, giving him a chance to think. I probably wouldn't have taken that first shot. But anyway, he's retracked him. 1, 2. Probably wouldn't have done that shot because you could have killed him in one clip. But hey ho, this is GG. 91 health left, and all he's got to do is wait for the 19-second reload and basically just kill the guy. The 95 cannot turn around in time. If he turns around, the PTA is going to blow an hole in him. If he carries on going forward, the 71's going to reload. And Purple Aki there, quite rightly, says well played to the PTA driver. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a very, very intelligent game in a T71. Let's just check out the post-game stats on it. And there we have it. A plethora of medals and a mastery badge. It's always worthwhile showing mastery badge games. 6,000 experience for his times 2. I wish all my times 2 games were as good as that. Fucking hell. If only. 70,000 credits earned. He got himself his Mastery Ace tanker. He got an Orlix medal, awarded for destroying 3 or more enemy tanks or tank destroyers with a light tank. I don't think I've got one of those. So well played to Purple Aki there. I don't think I've got one of those. A Nayadan's medal, destroying 3 light tanks, so blasting all the scouts, which is good. And obviously a Top Gun for the amount of kills he got. On team score, base experience of 2,051. That's definitely worth a mention. 4,331 damage done in a scout tank. And a special mention to the PTA driver and the heavy tank, the T57 heavy tank there. Top 3 players on the team, dishing out most of the pain. Jagdtiger did well. Let's put it this way. These guys did more damage than anyone else. The 5 players on our team did absolutely nothing. So hey-ho. Any special mentions on the enemy team? T30 driver did really well. 4,600 damage. He was up there with those guys. With these guys. Really, really good good work from him there. And T95 driver did really well as well. Okay. If you run the consumables in this, if you run the petrol, the gasoline in this, it will cost you a little bit, but he still managed to make 45,000 credits on his victory there. Fired 31 times, penetrated 27 times for 4,000 damage, and only ever received 1 hit. Yeah, that's an epic T71 battle. Well done to Purple. keep sending them in. Yeah, if you keep getting games like that, I'll keep showing them. Really, really, really good effort. Take care, guys. Bye now.